Gentlemen, I'm meadsyreplays. Welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to have a look at this beast of a tank. It's beast looking, and it is a beast of the tank, the E100. So I've previously done a video on the E100, basically calling it a noob man's tank. What I meant by that, this was a while ago now, but what I meant by that is mostly noobs drive this tank. Mostly people that do not know how to play this tank. They don't know how to angle it, and just generally they don't know how to play it. So a lot of the times you'll come up against an E100 that doesn't feel great. And most people might think, you know, it's the tank, but it really isn't the tank. When you play this tank correctly, oh my God, it is absolutely amazing. So the armor, the turret armor is 270 millimeters thick. Now, of course, it does have weak points, but all you need to do with this tank is angle, 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 and that will become a very, very strong turret. The same as the hull. The hull you can't pen. Unless it's the lower plate, you can't penetrate the hull because of the angle it's at. It's very, very difficult to be able to penetrate. But of course, the lower plate it is a lot easier to penetrate. And a lot of people will aim for your cheeks, or they will aim for that lower plate. So what do you need to do? You need to hide them. And of course, we will show you how to do that when we go into the game. So obviously the DPM is very low on the tank, 2,330, very, very, very low. Now we are running this with calibrated shells because of the alpha, etc. We want to guarantee our pen. So the reload is 16.5 seconds. Penetration on your AP is 271, and on the heat is 367, and the HE 94. Of course, again, that is running with calibrated shells. You've got a 640 alpha on your AP, 545 on your heat, and 960 on your HE. So you want to be getting that HE out as much as possible. Your aim time as well as 4.7, dispersion 0.380, not the best, and it does only have 7 degrees of gun depression with a top speed of just 30 kilometers per hour. So this, in my opinion, is one of the most beastie looking tanks in the game. It does look scary, but most of the time, like I said, you come up against this tank and they're not scary, and that's not because of the tank, but that's more because of the player playing the tank. Now again, if you don't angle your tank, and we're going to show you that in these games, if you don't angle it well, then you're going to get penetrated all day long. Now the best thing with this tank right now is because Wargaming did buff the armor profile, then a lot of people will have to actually now use APCR or their premium round to penetrate your cheeks, where before anyone could penetrate it. Any single person could penetrate your cheeks. So we're going to see that here. The AMX 50B, you've got a couple of tanks there. I mean, we're going to have a stupid shot there. But they're able to get the cheek shots because I'm giving them the cheek shots. If you're looking straight directly at them, then they'll be able to penetrate your cheeks. Now, he is using the premium round, so he is doing less alpha, but he's still managing to penetrate. And again, with the M6 Yo there, I mean, if you're not angled, you're not going to bounce anything, and I've just showed that here. Now of course, if people do shoot heat at your side, then they're probably not going to penetrate. They're just going to splash, well, not do anything. They're going to bounce, which is good, because people do get confused by that. They think they can shoot heat, and then it just does no damage. So you need to face them at all times. You need to face the enemy, but while you're facing the enemy, you also need to angle. So you need to angle your turret, you need to angle your lower plate, you just in sort of different direction. You need to angle. This tank is all about angling, and you just got to try to angle that. If you're on a ridge or anything like that, that makes your lower plate not being able to see your lower plate, then you need to angle that turret. Now this game we haven't really had the opportunity to angle because the enemy have just sort of let us rush into them. They was all separated, so we rushed on the right side, and now we're going to rush on the middle side, and pretty much it's game over. But if you can get that HE shot out, I mean, we're going to get a HE shot out here. We're going to go for that CC Mark 1. and we're going to do a very, very nice amount of damage into him. And when you could do that, you really pump your damage up. Now, of course, I'm about to do a series whereas we're going to look at the highest DPM tanks and the lowest DPM tanks, but just because this tank hasn't got the highest of DPMs, it really doesn't mean it's a bad tank. Like, if you play it right, it is one of the best tier 10s in the game, and it always has been. Whereas if you play it wrong, then it really isn't going to perform well. So you have to play it to its advantages. You have to look at the tank. You have to think, right, okay, where are its weak points? And really the only weak points is the cheeks and the lower plate, so you need to hide them as much as possible. Now, of course, it is a slow tank. The best thing about the tank is that it has got a lot of hit points, 2,750, so you've got a lot of hit points. And I mean, with the upgraded PBR, this tank really does look fantastic, especially when you get dirt on it, or sand, or snow. I mean, just look at how beautiful this tank is with all the sand and dirt. It just looks amazing. It really does look amazing. So well done Wargaming for actually making this tank look really, 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 really good. So another nice shot there. I mean, 2 shots, 1,400 damage. Now, we have gone to the left side, but looking at the left side, I mean, there's 2 mediums, so we're going to leave them, because if I go towards them, the chances of me actually doing damage to them is second to none. By the time I get there, they're probably going to die, and then it's going to take me even longer to get to these heavy sides. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to leave them to it. They should be able to do it, and they are doing it. And you've got the Foch there on the left side. I could actually wait at the moment, but I thought, you know what, I need to help these guys around the corner, because there's only now 1 heavy left over here. So I'm going to leave the this is a nice shot there, but you know, look at the alpha, 476, very, very low. So yeah, that's why I left that Foch, because I really wanted to help the AMX-50B. And if I would have gone for the Foch, there would have probably been like 3 tanks all over here going for the AMX-50B. So I needed to go for these, help these guys as much as I can. Even though now it is a 6 versus 4, I've got plenty of hit points left. The Death Star is coming forward as well. So they're going to focus him. We're going to get a nice shot into the mouse. And again, he's now a 1 shot. So I'm going to leave him and then go for these guys. So the Foch is getting ripped apart. You've got the AMX-50B there. So I'm going to go for him because he's a juicy target for me, especially if he's not looking. So we're going to obviously go for the HE. We're going to aim. We're going to wait. We want to guarantee the pen, which is why I waited for that aim to go down. So almost 1,000 damage done. Now, this next shot, I am actually going to mess up. Obviously, I want to go for the HE, but stupidly, I thought I was on HE, but I wasn't. So sadly, I didn't do as much damage as I hoped, but still 709, and this AMX-50B is pretty much dead, and it is now game over. So again, another 4,200 battle very, very easily. So next up, we're going to have the Pro Tetris player showcase just how to do this tank, and he does it all. He is using the Jotun, the new camouflage, which again makes this tank look absolutely amazing. I mean, I love the look of the E100. I've always loved the E100 itself, but it's always been a difficult tank to play, and I still stick by my words now that this tank is still a noob man's tank, because people just see it, you know, people, I mean, I don't know what it is. They just see the big gun. They just see the armor profile. They see the Tiger line. Obviously, they want to drive the Tiger line, people new in the game. And they just really don't know how to play the tank. And I would say about 70%, maybe even more, of the players just do not know how to play the E100. You've got to learn. I mean, this guy, look. I mean, he's looking away from these guys coming forward. And that's what you got to do. If you're in the open, then, of course, you're not going to be able to angle your so much. You're not going to be able to angle the lower plate and your turret very, very well, but at least angle one of them, you know. Don't make it easy for the enemy team. And I love the fact that when he shoots, he turns his turret, so they can't, and that kind of angle, it'll be very, very difficult for them to be able to penetrate the cheeks. Now, of course, what you need to be careful of is when you are aiming into this guy like now. Of course, he's going to go for the juicy target. Why wouldn't he? But when you're aiming, that is when people will be able to get your turret. So always try to maximize that, you know, aim in at the last second. Make sure you've already reloaded before you've aimed in. And I like what he does here. Not a lot of people do this. I mean, you're not going to be able to penetrate that IS-7. So why not just splash it? And that is almost 400 damage done. 400 damage done just with a splash. So at least he's doing damage. That IS-7 is sitting there thinking, you know what, no one is going to penetrate me in this position until someone splashes you. And when you do 400 damage, like, he needs to think twice about his positioning. So currently 460 block. He has lost a little bit of hit points, but he is now on 2,800 damage. So he's going to come in from a different angle because, you know, sitting there, yes, he can splash the IS-7, but you're not going to want to splash the IS-7 because this DPM really isn't high enough as it is. And when you're only doing some splash damage, then it really is, even though you're doing damage, but you're not doing as much damage as you would like. So right now, it is not looking good for the green team. It is a 2 versus 5. Yes, there are a couple of lower hit point tanks, but a 2 versus 5, and there's some big guns out there. And when you miss your shot, that was a very unfortunate miss there. I don't even know how he missed that, but he really, really needed that to pen. Now, the best thing is, at least it's 2 heavy tanks that with big alphas. So if they focus now, they will be able to clear this. And that was a very, very fortunate fire into that Death Star. So that, at least that is one big gun out. So you don't have to worry too much about that. And again, they're just waiting. I love how patient they are being. The IS-7's not, he doesn't want to push. Of course, that's the right move, not pushing. But now the IS-7 looks to be over there with the E100, who is very, very low hit points. Now that 60 TP and the E100 probably shouldn't have gone for that IS-7. They should have gone for the E100. One shot each, they will clear this. They will clear that guy. So they should really be focusing on the E100. He has the bigger alpha as well, so he is the most dangerous target. So I don't know why they're not going for the E100, but now the E100 is down to 98 HP. Just a HE shot into him. Just a HE shot, and that will clear him. But this guy still doesn't want to do it. He wants to go for the IS-7. That's the only thing I would have done differently. I would have just cleared this E100. And again, look at his angling. Just look at that angling. He's not looking directly at him. He is looking away from him. That is how you have to angle this tank, just like that. So now they have bring it down to a 2 versus 2. Of course, there is a Tortoise there, one of the highest DPM tanks in the game. So that is going to be very, very dangerous. And of course, he's going to focus on the 60 TP, which he does. And now it's a 1 versus 1. That was a nice shot into that waffle there. 6,300 damage. He wants to push this guy back. And again, look at the angling. It doesn't always work. Of course, you can actually hit under the gun. Doesn't always work. People will still be able to penetrate you if you give them the time. So what he's just going to do is going to push him back. He is losing a lot of hit points. And this guy is still full hit points. He's now blocked 1,700 damage. He's now a 2 shot. So he needs to block a few more. The DPM, as we know, isn't very high. And again, look at the angling that this guy is doing. When you angle an E100 like that, it is extremely, extremely difficult to be able to deal with that. Again, a very, very nice shot into the Tortoise. He does get shot. He's going to need another bounce. The Tortoise has fantastic DPM. He's going to have to get another bounce. He does just that. And now with that time, he is able to clear him. Very, very well played. 2,500 block damage. He showcased just how to angle the E100. But if you don't angle it well, you're not going to perform well in this tank. 8,000 damage done as well. So yes, I still stick by my original words. The E100 is still a noob man's tank. But if you play it, if you put this E100 in the right hands, it is an absolute beast. Hope you enjoyed today's video, guys. I'm meadsyreplays, and I'll catch you all soon. Bye-bye. With